Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Flower Power Live. My name's Allison, and I'm an herbalist, educator, ecologist, and every week I come to you live here on Facebook to share some plant wisdom. And hold on, I just realized I forgot to get my notes. Today, I want to start out with a quote from one of my very favorites, and perhaps your very favorites, books. Child books, and where did it go? Okay, I'll read off here. And that quote is from Peter Rabbit by Beatrix Potter. At the very end of the book, Peter has been disobeyed his mother. He's ran around Mr. McGregor's garden. He returns home exhausted, and this is what happens. I'm sorry to say that Peter was not very well during the evening. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea, and she gave a dose of it to Peter. 1 tablespoonful to be taken at bedtime. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. The Tale of Peter Rabbit. So today we're going to take a little lesson from Mrs. Rabbit, and our plant of the day is chamomile. Now, as some of you know, I work at a school, and this time of year, most teachers feel a bit like we've been chased around Mr. McGregor's garden with a hoe, especially in this unprecedented year that we've had for teaching, with these constantly shifting models of education, remote and hybrid and so on. And now here we are in Mercury retrograde, which is still active until after June 22nd. So there's a lot of pressure and uncertainty testing our nerves, and therefore chamomile really is an appropriate herb for this week. Now, the chamomile is another plant in the Asteraceae family, and along with many of our favorites like sunflowers and daisies, asters, and dandelions. And I don't have any chamomile in my garden, but I do have some daisies, so I brought these in to show you because chamomile flower is very similar to the daisy flower. And when I was doing some research on chamomile, I found there's 2 types of chamomile. There's German chamomile and Roman chamomile. And the funny thing is that normally I would want to use the Latin names to distinguish these 2, but these names seem to have changed, and I found multiple Latin names to go with each one of them. And this does happen as plants get shift and get reclassified into different genera. So I'm sticking with the common names, Roman chamomile and German chamomile. The German chamomile is more commonly used for herbal use, but both plants are very similar type of flower. Take this daisy here and pretend like it's, a 1/10 of the size. It looks almost exactly the same. Shrink it down a bit, and that is what the chamomile flower looks like. Now, composite flower, it's a type of composite flower, and one of the things about composite flowers is that you think it's a single flower. Looks like a flower, right? But it's actually many, many little small flowers here inside the center. Each one of those flowers are able to create a seed. So it's a very efficient way for a plant to grow. It fools the pollinators into thinking, oh, come pollinate my flower, when in fact the pollinators are pollinating many, many hundreds. Think about a dandelion. How many seeds are in a dandelion? So let's put these up here. Can you see these? Maybe. I'll put it down here a little bit. There you go. We got to have our daisies in the picture. Okay. So anyway, the composite flowers are what all of these plants in the same family. So let's get back to chamomile. German chamomile is really known for its more intense oils, whereas Roman chamomile is, and German chamomile is an annual, and Roman chamomile is a perennial. Roman chamomile is a really low growing one. It has maybe like 3 to 6 inch flower stems on it, whereas the German chamomile can get almost up to like 1.5 feet, almost 2 feet tall. They both have very similar uses in herbalism, and they both love the sun. So if you're thinking of planting some in your garden, make sure you put them into a sunny spot. And the Roman chamomile, the low-growing one, is really good for like along a rock wall, on the edge of the path, or something like that. So both of them contain this essential oil chamomile, and so that's what gets extracted into the essential oils that you might buy for chamomile. You'll see Roman versus German. So both of them have a sweet scent, and the thing I read says it smells like apples. I think it smells like honey. This is what the dried flowers look like, and they smell, oh, it smells so good. So that's the dried center of the flower. You may have only had chamomile inside of the tea bag, but that's how small the center is when it's all dried up. So that gives you an idea of how small the chamomile flowers are. And I just want to get back to Mrs. Rabbit, and let's just say that she was definitely right in choosing chamomile for Peter, because it is one of the most commonly used nervines and relaxants that's used today. It's considered gentle and safe for children, pets, and all the other people in between. So after being chased around Mr. McGregor, I think he probably benefited from a dose of chamomile tea. It's also known as really helping with insomnia and just helping you get to sleep. So having a little bit of tea before bed is always a good idea. It can also be used for pain relief, digestion, fevers, and infections. And one of the ways that I commonly use it is for eye infections. So if you have a sty, or even if you have pink eye, you can just make a strong tea. I usually mix it with eye bright, which is another herb that's specifically for the eyes, hence the name eye bright. And I mix those together, and you just take a cotton ball and just sort of soak it, just let it sit on your eye and soak on there. And according to Matt Wood, one of my, as you well know, my favorite herbalist, he says that chamomile is indicated for children of all ages that are being kind of whiny and needy and kind of, you need a hug, right? So chamomile is an herbal hug for anyone that needs it. And that's also an indicator for chamomilla, which is the homeopathic remedy for chamomile. Now, one of my favorite herbalists, which I don't think we talked about that much, is Rosalie de la Forêt. And she does a lot of classes with Learning Herbs, which is a website that I know I've recommended before. And she classifies chamomile under the, sometimes I say chamomile, sometimes I say chamomile. I think most people say chamomile, but I don't know. Anyway, she classifies it under the bitter category. So herbs can be classified by their taste, and those tastes help to sort of indicate what they can be used for. We've talked about the doctrine of signatures, like what a plant looks like and how that can help you figure out what it's supposed to be used for. And then, so the taste of the herb is also another way that you can determine how the herb is used. And this is used a lot in Chinese medicine as well. So she says that, I like this quote. She says, drinking a cup of chamomile tea is like getting a warm hug from a loved one. It can help you relax and unwind after a stressful day, decrease pain caused by muscle tension or spasms, and strongly reduce inflammation. Chamomile's best gifts are that it's gentle while simultaneously offering profound relief. So he emphasizes that even while it seems gentle, that doesn't mean it's wimpy, right? It still has an impact even when something is gentle and anyone can use it. One of the caveats here, though, is if you really want to get the full power out of chamomile, you can't just make a nice, delicate, sweet tasting tea. You really need to get that bitter flavor. So you're going to need to brew a stronger tea. You can also use you can also create or use a chamomile alcohol extract, a tincture. It's another way to get that stronger, bitter flavor. Now it's interesting because we think, oh, bitter, yuck, why would I have something bitter? But bitters actually stimulate very different parts of our digestion and have a lot of important effects, which we won't get into right now. But I want to let you know that I happen to be giving away one of her books. Is going to be one of my prizes in my upcoming challenge, which is going to be starting on June 23rd. So maybe you will be one of the lucky ones to win that. It's a wonderful book. It's for herbalists of all levels. It's got these gorgeous pictures inside it. Their photography is amazing. And so you'll love it. If you don't win it, you should get it yourself. So let's talk a little bit about the flower essence. Now, the FES, Flower Essence Society, they use the German chamomile to create their flower essence. And they describe this as a fast-growing plant. And it produces an abundance of daisy-like flowers on many branched stems with a thin thread-like leaves, creating a very airy gesture. And again, here's another way that we see the indications or the document signatures of what is the plant telling us about how effective it is for certain types of conditions. So an airy gesture, so it's an indicator that this is a gentle, opening, airy, relaxing kind of a plant. Now, according to Lycanwood Herbal's Flower Essence Repertory, chamomile is used for a serene solar plexus. So it helps to soothe your inner tension and anxiety, especially when it's stored in the solar plexus, which is your third chakra area down here. And it can really help to lift a sense of gloom and irritability. It also is very good for calming these sort of like emotionally oversensitive type of people that are always reacting or getting their feelings hurt and things like that. And even can be used in pets for like a dog who barks at everything and just to help like take that edge off. Now, this week, my oracle cards. And by the way, I started late today because I went out to the garden to cut the daisies and there was a woodchuck, so I had to chase it away. All right, so the oracle cards, I drew the card for chamomile from the Herb Crafter's Tarot, which is now dead. Oh, here it is. I'm back. And because I love chamomile, I decided to also look at the card from the Soulflower Essence deck. So the card from the Herb Crafter's Tarot is called the Hia, and apologies, I'm not that good with Spanish, of water. And so Hia means daughters, and these cards within the Herb Crafter's Tarot, they feature plants that are traditionally like a children's remedy, but it can be safe for everyone. They're very gentle and they taste delicious, unless you make that bitter tea that you're supposed to make if you really want to get the most out of it. So the picture on the card shows dried chamomile in a jar on the countertop, and a child is pouring hot water over the flowers and spilling a little bit of it because she's distracted by the view of the beautiful sparkling ocean in the distance. There is a helper that's steadying her hand and bringing her back to the task of pouring the water into the tea. Now, the Hia of water embraces the feelings of and the freedom of a child. So when the emotions get overwhelmed, she asks for help. That's what a child would do, right? Ask for help when you get overwhelmed. Not like us adults who just think, we're and handle it, right? She knows the medicine she needs, but she needs help to get it and prepare it for herself. So chamomile sweet scent calms anxiety. It brightens the spirit, and the child quiets her mind and gives herself permission to be playful with her heart. So this is telling us that, you know, it's okay if you've had a bad day, get what you need and ask for help on that. So you return to your beginner's heart to calm your spirits when your emotions run awry. And now the Soulflower Essence card for chamomile is stability. And this is just like, I can get that without the reflection. You can see that. Let me put this up. This is just the most gorgeous version. This is definitely the German chamomile there here that she has painted. And it says that even on a cloudy day, the sun is shining, it's just obscured. And I love that. Even when we're having a bad day, we still have our love and our peace and our in our inner being It's still there. It's just something's happened on the outside. So you need to remember that. Chamomile reminds you that even when faced with challenges and difficulties, your soul's warmth, serenity, and equanimity are always present within, soothing and calming and helping you to weather any storm in a relaxed, harmonious state. So again, talking about the relaxing, the nervine properties of chamomile. So often when we come home at the end of the day, like I was talking about, working at a school and all the teachers are just completely frazzled right now. Unfortunately, a lot of us will reach for something way stronger than chamomile to and potentially toxic as a means of sort of calming our nerves, like binge eating or alcohol or other drugs. And so, and even like over-the-counter medicines like pain relievers and so on. So instead, what this message from chamomile is like, listen, you can grab something that's gentle, safe, and it's also very effective. So be sure to take yourself back to this child's perspective. A child can be redirected pretty easily. They are able to soothe themselves with just a little bit of help. So if that's all you need is a bath or a soothing cup of tea, that's what you should be going towards. And this simple act, a conscious act of like shifting, just a little shift to what you need to consciously let go of the day's stress is just really important. And with a little help from our herbal friends, remember, imagine this 10 times smaller. It'll allow us to move into a more calmer and more healthy life. These types of daily practices, the ritual of having a nightly cup of tea, is a really wonderful practice to put into your life. If you're the type of person that comes home frazzled and stressed a lot of the time, perhaps you can't sleep because you have too much tension going on inside, then chamomile could be a really awesome option for you. Some people that have a lot of allergies or allergies to other types of these composite flowers don't like chamomile. So you want to make sure, try it out a little bit, see how it works for you before you use it regularly. But that's our message from chamomile tonight. Let yourself be soothed, do it in a gentle way. And that's all I got to say about chamomile. I hope you will keep an eye out for my next challenge coming up, the Come Back to Your Senses challenge. I'm sure we'll be talking a bit about calming our nerves during that. And that's going to be starting on June 23rd. That's a Wednesday night, and it's going to be going for pretty close to a week. And I'll be sharing all kinds of different insights about how we can sort of reconnect with our senses, how those are connected to our chakras, and the herbs, of course. There's always herbs that are going to help you get reconnected. Everything will be happening in my Flower Power Facebook group. So if you're not a member of that already, just ask to join and I will be more than happy to approve you and let you on in. I'll put the link down below. So until next week, have a great week. Remember, don't try to do too much with Mercury retrograde going on. Just take it easy, sip some tea. See you next week.